Well, I was going to say, yeah, it wasn't an announcement. It just seems like almost yet another leak. And it's interesting. One thought, if he thinks he is going to get indicted, and if he gets indicted, he's not going to be a police officer. They're probably going to suspend him anyway, and it's going to be without pay. They may fire him just because of the indictment. So in one sense, you can look at this and say he preempted that. I think realistically, as Sonny said, there was no way he was going to go back to law enforcement, Ferguson, or probably any other city anywhere, just because of the notoriety, and this is just probably a good move to get this part of his life taken care of and to move on.
You know, Paul, obviously Wilson is maintaining, I assume, that he didn't do anything wrong in his testimony to the grand jury, though we don't know for sure what he said to the grand jury. They're not sequestered, so it's very possible with this leak or with Evan Perez reporting this, the grand jury could hear this. I wonder if it could influence things one way or another.
Well, I think, Anderson, that's why this is a very surprising development, because, an officer who's fighting murder charges will be fighting it by saying, something, I didn't act improperly, I acted honorably as a police officer, and to say I'm resigning from my job, it almost sounds like you're admitting guilt. So that's something certainly his lawyers must have been worried about. But, of course, on the other side of the equation, if he doesn't intend to come back to the force, he has leverage now, and negotiations are all about leverage, to say to local authorities, I want you to offer me a very good deal, and I'll resign. And that may help to avoid damage to the community, rioting or some kind of bloodshed that everybody fears, when the final announcement is made. So it's a really surprising development, and we'll have to see how it plays out.
Yeah, but I mean, Paul, I should point out, again, as Evan is reporting, that if the grand jury returns with an indictment, Wilson could very much just change his mind and not resign.
Well, he could, but as you say, it's a small community. When the grand jury goes to vote this, let's assume they're voting it tomorrow, if they know that he's already resigned, one of the things that people have had in the back of their mind is, even if the grand jurors think it's a very weak case against him and they, would normally be inclined not to vote an indictment, the one thing they may be worried about is the damage to the community if there's not a public trial. But if they know the officer has resigned and that's kind of been thrown up to the community, there's less of a chance of violence. So it's a complex equation here,
right,
and we'll have to see what went into it.